Welcome back to Budget Boss. My name is Gustavo, and today I'm gonna be showing you guys how you can make a great recipe. It's quick, it's cheap, and this is the cherry bomb rib recipe. So before I get into this, make sure you guys like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you know every single time that we drop a new video. Also, make sure you guys download the Pit Boss Grills app. Check this recipe out in the link below, and make sure you guys give it a 5-star rating because this one is out of this world. All right, so let's get into making these cherry bomb ribs. All right, everybody, so the first part of this recipe, I made sure I dehydrated some cherry peppers overnight. I used my air fryer, you guys can use yours. And then after I used my air fryer, I put them in the smoker for about 30 minutes just so that way they can get some flavor on them. Brown sugar, paprika, salt, 1 tablespoon of cracked pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and cayenne pepper.
Once we have all the ingredients together, then we're gonna mix them together here in our bowl. I'm gonna crush them up until all of the big pieces of cherry peppers are nice and finely ground. Any pieces that remain that are a little too big, just remove them from the mix. That's totally okay. Then I'm gonna set my Sportsman 1100 to 250 degrees. Now we're gonna get our ribs ready, and we are going to remove the membrane. Now this way is the wrong way of removing the membrane. I'm going to show you a comparison with our membrane removal tool that literally helped me remove the membrane in half the time. And you can see it here. By the time I'm done removing the membrane on the right side, I'm still struggling to even get it started on the left side. That just goes to show you how useful that tool is. Now I'm gonna score my ribs, and I'm gonna score them in the shape of an X. Don't use too much pressure when cutting because you'll cut all the way through, especially if you have a very sharp knife. Then I'm gonna add my mustard as a binder and rub it into the cuts on the ribs. Then I'm gonna flip them over. I'm also gonna add mustard on the backside as well. And then once I add that mustard, I'm gonna take my cherry bomb seasoning that we just made and I'm gonna place it on top of these ribs. And since we already added all of our spices and seasonings to it, it's pretty simple. Just add this onto the front, the back, the sides, even on the tips of the bone. We want to get this thing completely covered in our cherry bomb rub. Alright, now that we have our smoker preheated, we're going to set our ribs on the top grate. And we're gonna have them there for about an hour and a half. We're gonna let them get nice and smoked, full of that wood pellet flavor. And while we'll do that, we're gonna get to making the barbecue rub, the barbecue sauce.
All right, guys, so the next step is gonna be making our cherry bomb glaze, and that's gonna be a couple of ingredients. We're gonna heat it up, but instead of cooking all the cherries down, we're gonna put it all in here in the blender, then we'll heat it up on the smoker, we'll add a slurry to it to thicken it, and then we're gonna braise our ribs in this sauce, okay? So first thing you're gonna want is 2 cups of cherries. I took some time yesterday to cut them in half and take the pits out. I don't have something to pit the cherries, but if you do, it will save you a lot of time. All right, so we'll put those in there. 1/4 of a cup of apple cider vinegar. Then I'm gonna do 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Then I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Then I'm gonna do 1/4 of a cup of honey. All right, and then I'm gonna add just a little bit of chipotle paste. And when I say a little bit, I mean 1 tablespoon. And then I'm gonna get some fresh cherry peppers. We use dehydrated cherry peppers for the seasoning, and then I used the other ones, instead of dehydrating them last night, I left them fresh so I could put them in to this glaze. And then finally, 1 tablespoon of pepper, 1 tablespoon of salt. Right. Ready?
All right, now that our mixture is all blended up, I'm gonna take my Pit Boss cast iron. I'm gonna place the sauce into the cast iron, and then I'm gonna place the cast iron right over my flame broiler plate. I move the ribs out of the way so that way they don't drip into my sauce. And then I'm gonna open the flame broiler so that way I can get direct heat to that cast iron. That'll help my sauce get nice and bubbly. And while that's heating up, I'm gonna spritz my ribs with some apple juice. And now that you see those bubbles are coming up on my barbecue sauce, I'm gonna add a slurry to thicken it up. This is equal parts water and cornstarch. 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of water is the perfect amount. We're gonna mix it around. You'll see it get nice and thick. And then I'm gonna take it off of the heat, put it into a separate bowl. You can see it has a very similar texture to a barbecue sauce, but the redness of a dark maraschino cherry. All right, now we're gonna braise our ribs. So I'm gonna get some aluminum foil. We do have Pit Boss aluminum foil, but any aluminum foil works. I'm gonna put 4 pieces of butter onto the foil, as well as my Cherry Bomb Glaze. I'm gonna take my ribs off the smoker, since it's been about an hour and a half, and I'm gonna place them face down on top of my barbecue sauce and butter. And then I'm gonna add more to the backside. I'm really just gonna keep adding sauce until it's completely covered. I don't wanna necessarily drown it in the sauce yet, because we still have more time to cook. So I just placed a little bit more on top of the ribs, flipped them back over, wrapped up the ribs, and then placed them back onto the top rack of the smoker for another hour and a half. And just make sure you wrap them nice and tight. Start on the left side, roll them up, fold down the part that separates the middle of the aluminum foil, and then roll up on the right side. All right, another hour and a half. Once that is done and they are braised, I'm gonna pull them out of the aluminum foil. You can keep them in a nice tin pan like this just to prevent the mess. If there's a hole in it, it'll drip out. But look how incredible that cherry bomb rib looks. I'm actually very proud of this recipe. It took me some time to come up with it and test it a few times before I could show you guys. All right, and then I'm gonna brush the ribs one more time with more of my Cherry Bomb Glaze, so it's nice and covered. You can see the layers on it right there. And then usually I'll just put it back into the smoker for about 15 to 30 more minutes. This really lets it finish off cooking, get that perfect amount of crispiness, juiciness, tenderness to these ribs. The most important part of making sure these ribs stay juicy is the braising process, making sure that you cook it with some type of liquid. And when you pull them out, they should look like this: nice, tender, juicy, and delicious. I'm gonna start cutting these up. And initially, when I pulled these out of the smoker, 2 of the ribs just fell completely off. That is because I used baby back ribs. If you want to have something that's more tender and it stays on the bone, doesn't necessarily fall off, you can use St. Louis ribs to do so. Once I have all my ribs cut, I'm gonna take my barbecue sauce, my Cherry Bomb Glaze sauce, and I'm just gonna apply it to all sides of these ribs, just so that way there's no side left untouched with the sauce. This is a bomb of flavor. Literally, it gives you a nice sweet explosion. It's not too spicy at all because those cherry peppers actually don't have too much spice to them, but a lot of flavor. And there you have it, cherry bomb ribs by yours truly, Gustavo.
All right, guys, so here we are at the very end of our cook. I have our cherry bomb ribs here. I'm gonna try one out shortly, but before I do try one out, make sure you guys like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you know every single time that we drop a new video. So we started off by smoking the ribs at 250 degrees for about an hour and a half. Then we braised them for another hour and 10 minutes. And then after that, we uncovered them and we brushed it with our cherry bomb glaze. Let it cook for another 15 minutes, pulled it off, and here you guys have it. I'm gonna try one right now. Let's take a look here. It's definitely a good mixture of sweetness with a slight kick to it. Beautiful color on it. Make sure you guys try this at home. Make sure you comment cherry bomb ribs, 10 out of 10. Always remember, everyone's gotta eat. I'll see you next time, Budget Boss.